Most people have started asking, what is ChatGPT and how can you use it? ChatGPT is a large language model chat box developed by OpenAI based on GPT 3.5. It performs the tasks of predicting the next word in series of words. In other words, it's an AI writing tool that's designed to write text based on information you give it. I'm going to be taking you through everything you need to know about ChatGPT in one of the most practical ways possible. We're going to pretend that we're building out a website and we need content for the website. I'm going to be taking you from A to Z and helping you start using ChatGPT the way it should be used for your business. If this video helps you, please support the channel by liking this video and subscribing. Hello, my name is Marty Englander and I am a full-time content creator. I use tools like ChatGPT to help speed up my processes and create quality content far beyond anything that I was actually capable of creating before it. To start this tutorial off, we first need to establish what we're actually going to be building. And I think the most practical way of doing that is by filling out page content of a website. I'm going to walk you through the typical things on what you might want to be using it for, and doing it this way gives us lots of variations of different commands that we can use and creative ways of how we can implement those commands with our everyday tasks. So the website we're going to be filling pages out for is a web developer, and typically on a page we've got our home page, our about us page, and our services page. On a home page it typically has pain point, questions, and your service as a solution to those questions. Then you've got snippets of your services, testimonials, and then moving on to the About Us page, we have a mission statement and the history of your business. On the service page, we have web design services and WordPress design services. And typically you also have a Contact Us page, but we're not going to be creating text for that because most Contact Us pages tend to have a form and some very basic information on how the person can contact them. First, start off by going to chat.openai.com/auth/login. Don't worry, I'll leave a link in the description below so you can quickly get started. You want to click the sign up button and then fill out this information here to create your account. Once you're logged in, you're going to be presented with an interface like this. Well, similar to this, we first need to install some extensions to put ChatGPT on steroids. If you go to this URL, or again, I'll leave it in the comments below, scroll to the bottom of the page and you'll see there's these extensions that will take you directly to the install page. So first go ahead and click on Enhance ChatGPT and then click this button and it will automatically add it to your browser. Then click on Superpower ChatGPT and again click this button and it will add it to the browser. And then finally click on ChatGPT Assistant and add it to your browser as well. Now just so you know what these extensions do, it adds a whole bunch of different prompts for us that we can look at and base our future inputs on. It also gives us some guidelines and a little bit of help down the line. It also creates a history tab so we can see what other questions we've been asking, and we can even store it to our own personal library if we think that this specific command we've entered is really good. The library is also synced with other people's commands, which again are really good commands that you can start using and getting an idea on other creative ways of how people are using ChatGPT. You can also share all the text that's created or export it as a PDF, a PNG, or an MD file. You can also change the theme if you want to. Personally, I like the default theme. When you click New Chat, this starts a new thread in ChatGPT, and it's always best practice to keep each thread specific to the intention of a single output. The reason we want this is because ChatGPT remembers all the information that we input previously within a single thread, which means the outputs, as long as they're focused and about a specific topic, will just continue to get better and better and better as long as you don't confuse that single thread with different topics. Now that we have a general idea of ChatGPT and the interface and we have all of our extensions installed, let's move on to start building the first page, which is the home page. Now, the first thing that we want to do is we want to ask ChatGPT for it to get some pain point questions. These are questions that customers have a problem solving, which is part of the reason why they would come to your business, because they want that problem being solved by us. So now we're just going to tell ChatGPT that we want some common questions that people looking for web design services will be asking for. So we're going to type in, write 5 pain point questions business owners looking for web design services are searching for. So now ChatGPT has produced 5 questions or 5 pain point questions that our target market are asking. So now we want to match those questions with an answer which also presents our business or our service as the solution. So we're going to write an answer for each question. The idea here is to match our business, which is, let's just call it Web for You Design, as the solution to each question asked, and then do enter. What it's doing now is it's doing exactly what we just asked it to do. So it's elaborating on each question, and it's saying, well, at our business, this is how we approach it, and it's doing it in the order of what the questions were presented. And just like that, it's generated an answer which matches our business as the solution to each question, and it's done it in the same order, and here we have it. Now, before we continue, I'm going to head over to the sidebar here, and I'm going to click on this pencil icon. I'm going to rename this as homepage questions, and that's changed the name of the thread. Now the next step is snippet of your services, and we're going to get ChatGPT to actually write us some services, but I don't want to do it in this area because I want to keep this quite focused just for questions and answers, because if you remember previously, ChatGPT remembers and will cater all the information based on the general theme of the thread. So we don't want to confuse it or dampen any future responses by mismatching the information we feed it. Go ahead and click on new chat. I'm going to show you how it can generate some services for you. Of course, you'll already have your services pre-planned, but I want to show you a few different ways you can utilize this tool. So I'm going to say list common web design services and do enter. So what it's done is it's found us the most common web design services and then given us a short description about each one. But the problem with this is these are too long to incorporate into a website menu, for example. So you can see here under the services page, we've got like web design services, web design WordPress services, etc. And these are short enough to put into a menu, but imagine trying to put all of this into a menu. So now that we have this information, we can say something lines of shorten these terms so it fits in a website menu, and then do enter. And just like that, what it's done is it's taken this list here and then it's shortened to into a navigation menu, and then it's gone one step further by telling us how we can break it down even further into main menus and then sub menus. So under design, the sub service of design is design and layout, features, content creation. That wasn't the best input here, but you get the gist. With development, we've got front end and back end, SEO optimization, mobile optimization, etc. Now remember, it's not going to be perfect every time, and this is where the human comes in. But remember, if you apply the 80-20 rule, where 80% of the writing is to be done by ChatGPT, and then 20% is you fact checking and just making sure it all reads well, and just adding a bit more sense to it all. Okay, so we have a list now, and what I want to do, I'm going to ignore this bit here, and I'm going to take and just copy this list here. I'm going to tell ChatGPT that I want let's say 50 words for each item of this list. So and these 50 words are going to explain each of these services, but I want it done in kind of like an engaging and fun way. So I'm going to say write a 50-word description for each point below. The tone should be professional, fun, and engaging. And then underneath it, I'm going to paste in that list, and I'm going to do enter. So now you can see it's done that. It's taken each item of our list, so design and layout, and then added round about 50-word description. Now here's a fun little trick that a lot of people didn't realize you can use ChatGPT to do, but you can actually use it to format a bit better. So here's how you can do that. So let's say we wanted each of these items to be the actual service name to be in bold, and then the rest of it to be in italic, and we don't want quotation marks there. So to do that, we just explain to ChatGPT what we actually want. So we can say make the service names in bold and make the descriptions in italic and remove the quotation marks from the descriptions, and then do enter. Okay, and then you can see that we're in bold and the quotation marks are gone. So as well as creating content, you can reformat it in almost any way that you want. All you need to do is just tell it what to do. And the more detail you give into your input, the more detail and the better quality your outputs will be. Just remember this phrase: garbage in, garbage out. Okay, so again, what we're going to do, we're going to rename this and we're going to call it service snippets. To apologize, home page service snippet. So now we're going to create a new thread, and whilst I don't encourage people to fake testimonials or anything on these lines, what you can do is take a testimonial that you've already gotten, and let's say it's not articulated very well, you can actually reformat that using ChatGPT. So here I am on a random website and I have some testimonials here. What you can do is take the testimonial and you can say, rewrite this testimonial with better English. And then you can paste it under and do enter. And just like that, it reworded this in a different tone. And again, remember, you can specify the different tones just by saying what tone you want it to be written in. Let's go ahead and rename this to homepage testimonials. Next, we've got the About Us page. And on the About Us page, we're going to cover the first section, which is a mission statement. Now, for those of you who are not 100% sure what a mission statement is, or perhaps you've not heard this sort of terminology before, a mission statement is defined as an action-based statement that declares the purpose of an organization and how they serve their customer. This sometimes includes a description of the company, what it does, and its objectives. Let's go ahead and start a new chat. We can tell ChatGPT to write a mission statement for us and also to include certain information. Let me show you. So we're going to type in write a mission statement about my company, which is Web for You Designs, and include the following information. So the first thing that you want is we are a web design company, and then you can say we want to provide the best web design services for small business owners at affordable prices. We have 20 years of web design experience. Our main goal is to provide world-class websites to business owners who wouldn't usually be able to afford them, and then do enter. And just like that, it's written. Now what you can do as well is you can, if you think, hey, this is too short, you can actually say continue, and just like that, it will continue the script for you. Okay, so now that it's created the mission statement for us, the next step is creating kind of like the history, so all about your business and how you became the business that you are today. So we're going to ask it to write around 500 words of our history, and just like the mission statement, we're going to give it just some guidelines of what to follow. Of course, this can be a little tricky, this area, and it might need some tweaking from you, from the human, but depending on how good your input is will dictate how, accurate this story actually is. We're going to turn it into a little bit of a story. So we're going to say, write a 500-word story about the history of my business, and then again we'll just tell it what the business name is. So it's Web for You Designs. Okay, and we're also going to continue this command by saying using the information below. Okay, and then below it again we're going to say we started in, let's say, 1990, started off as a graphic designer, recruited first employee in, let's say, 5 years. We had over 50 active clients, went from a small 1-room office to a 10-room office, etc. And then you just do enter. Okay, and there we have it. This is 445 words, so it's done its best to accommodate the 500 word limit, which is perfectly fine. And just to show you kind of like how accurate and how important putting in these statements or feeding ChatGPT information is. So we said, right, our name is Web For You Designs, and we want it to use the information here. So let's start off with we started in 1990. So Web For You Designs has a rich history that spans over 30 years. It all began in 1990. Okay, so it started off with that fact, and then we also said it started off as a graphic designer. Well, it's interesting because with a passion for design, it's leading us into the graphic designer. In the beginning, it was just our founder working alone in a one-room small office, and again, small office there. And then it moves on to start talking about clients and how we now have over 50 active clients, expanded to include several skilled designers and developers, etc. And it's really just taken that information and just run very creatively, very nicely, and it just reads very, very well. It's kind of put in all the fluff that you want with these points, and it's just done it in like less than a minute. That's the About Us page. So let's go ahead and rename this. And you might be wondering why I decided to keep the mission statement and the history all in one, and that's because the mission statement and the history, they kind of cross over. So the information from the mission statement only helps what we've got here for the history as well. So it all complements each other very nicely, and it doesn't really go off theme at all. Finally, we've got the services page. And for the services page, we want to include web design services and stuff like that. Okay, so we want an actual description of everything that we offer for web design services. Now, again, this is going to be tailored towards what it is you actually offer, but we're going to keep this more generic, just like what we did previously with all the other pages. Let's just input some commands. The first one is web design services. So we're going to say, write a description for a web design service, and then just do enter. Just like that, it's generated 230 words just describing what a web design service is. Now, I'm not going to do this for every single design service, but I wanted to give you some creativity when it comes to how specific you can actually get. So let's say it's just created kind of like the outline of the service for web design. But let's say you wanted to get a little bit more targeted with this description. You can simply say, repeat this statement, write a description for a web design service for the target market barbers. Okay, target market barbers. And then you can say, I'm not going to allow it to write this whole thing again because it might take a bit too long on video. So what I'm going to say is the maximum word count of this should be 300 words. And then you can also put geo in this, like for example, the target location is England, Manchester. And then you can also say use terminology which barbers tend to use. So now we're asking ChatGPT to kind of communicate with our target audience at the level that they actually talk at, which might be higher, it might be lower, but more importantly, it uses the same language because people in different industries tend to use different language to what other people in different industries use. A perfect example is that if you're talking to a legal professional, let's say a barrister, for example, the barrister will talk very differently in writing or even in speech than the average web designer or content creator. So telling ChatGPT to talk a certain way is a really powerful way of getting a message over to a specific audience. So we're just going to do enter. Okay, so now that it's just finished doing that, what's really interesting is that it started repeating barbers and Manchester, which is really good for on-page SEO to help you get seen on Google. It makes Google happy, basically. It's now being a bit more specific by saying unique needs and requirements of a barbershop. So it's kind of like it's tailor-made for the barber. Now, here's a cool thing. It started using language like gallery because barbers will have a gallery of cuts and stuff like that. And what else would a barbershop typically want? Well, they might want an online booking system. That's exactly what they've included here. And then they've specified what that actually means, which is it will allow your clients to schedule their appointments with ease and convenience. And what's really cool is that it's even now talking about an e-com being integrated so customers can purchase products, you know, like gift cards or accessories or hair gel and stuff like that. And it says that right here. And then finally, we're just going to change this to services. So let's have a recap about what we've done in this ChatGPT crash course. We've taken a practical, real life topic, which is filling out the pages for your website or blog or anything on those lines. We've methodically broken down the pages that are required and then allowed ChatGPT to write the bulk sum of the content for us, specific to the commands that we've inputted and the topic that we've told it to focus on. The great thing about using things like ChatGPT is it doesn't really make spelling mistakes. Whilst it's not always factually correct, when you're using it for simple stuff like this, it usually is a bit more factually correct, or it's more right than wrong. Using just a few simple commands and then adding a slight variation to them, we've discovered that we can actually apply these commands to almost anything that we want ChatGPT to write for us. And we've also discovered that no matter who you are, what tech level you have, implementing something like this tool into your business can not only save you an absolute fortune in outsourcing copywriting services, but it also frees up a tremendous amount of time by not needing to go backwards and forwards with freelancers or someone who is writing your services or your pages for you, and also does over 80% of the work for you. So all you need to do is just factually correct it. I'll do my best to answer any questions you have about this course or questions in general about ChatGPT in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.